Hey, family, beautiful beings. Welcome back to another episode. Today, I am talking about how we need to be in these times, what we need to be in these times, because there's so much of what we don't want out there. So, whatever we want in the world starts with us. Um, so, specifically, there are people that are exempt from wearing a mask. And sometimes in life, we may see people and, for example, park in a handicap spot, and we may assume, like, oh, that person's walking upright, like, they're not in a wheelchair. And we take it upon ourselves to judge and feel like we know something more than the person knows about themselves. So, I mean, maybe there are times when someone parks somewhere or does something that they don't necessarily qualify. But again, you don't know. So it's better that you don't just throw judgment out there. The better thing that we can do is to possibly ask how we can help. If we feel so offended by something that someone's doing, we should ask them how is it that we can help them. So I went to the laundromat, and when I got to the laundromat, to my surprise, there were numerous people not wearing a mask. And the owner was there, and I had called her prior to coming, letting her know that I have an exemption. I'm coming in, and I'm just, forewarning her so that she's not alarmed. And she proceeded to tell me that, that there's people that have come there and that have complained to the store next to her to say that, people are not wearing a mask. But we had a conversation, and she was understanding, and she was not at all being rude or telling me that I shouldn't come. She was just saying, I hope that you can come when there's not a lot of people so that it's not really an issue. So anyways, I proceeded to go to the laundromat, and as I said, to my surprise, there was numerous people not wearing a mask. And when I walked in with my exemption, nobody said anything to me. I didn't get any like evil stares or like any looks to kill me or anything like that. I was actually quite happy within myself because there was other people like me, whether or not they had real exemptions or not. Um, there was people in there that were like me, so I felt comfortable for once, going somewhere and having other people be in the same position as myself. So I proceeded to do my laundry. Everything was good. Um, Hours later, a lady came in and I said hello to her. Everything was fine. She had come with two other people, and they were going to use the machines that I was just finished using. So while they're waiting for me to unload, the person that came in after, so I'll call them Lady 1 and Lady 2. So I proceeded to greet Lady 1 when she came in. She smiled back, everything was fine. Lady 2 comes in after a few minutes. I could feel her energies, having a problem that I don't have a mask on. And she proceeded to tell Lady One that, oh, that I don't have a mask, which was obviously clear to everybody. And, basically having a problem with it and whatever else she wanted to say that maybe it was dangerous to herself and whatnot. Which, I'm an understanding person. I understand where everybody's coming from. I understand that, there's some people that absolutely feel like everybody should be wearing a mask. And then there's some people that see people not wearing a mask and just honestly mind their own business and keep it moving. And that's kind of how we should be doing it. Because again, you just don't know, you know? So instead of, just jumping to judge a person and say, well, lady two proceeded to tell me, or was it Lady One? Anyways, one of them proceeded to tell me that she had COPD and she's still wearing a mask. Like, that's not my business. So I'm not asking to mind your business, so I don't understand why you want to mind mine. But that's besides the point. So they proceeded to try to get at me and yell at me and be saying, you think you're special? Well, you're not special, and you're not special, and going on and saying all the things that I should be doing and how I am, putting their life in danger. And I was trying to remain calm. And I simply said, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not trying to upset you or make you feel uncomfortable. So if it's really that big of an issue, you came here and saw me, so the only thing I could suggest is for you to wait till I'm done. And of course, that was a whole nother issue, like, oh, not going to work around you. Well, I'm definitely not suggesting that you work around me because I'm clearly working around everybody in here, and everybody in here is working around me. So I'm just making it as a suggestion in case you didn't think of it, but I'm definitely not telling you what to do. To each their own. So she proceeded to go on and go on until the point where they were like, oh, we're calling the police, we're going to call the police. And, I kept saying to her, well, I didn't keep saying to her because I'm just here to do my laundry. I'm not here to, find a conflict of any sort. I'm just trying to go about my peaceful day, enjoy the weather, enjoy my family, and so on and so forth. So, I was like, if you see someone in a wheelchair, you're not going to be like, get up and walk because you know that they can't. So, in her mind it's different. The exemption that I have is different than a person in a wheelchair, but in my mind it's one and the same. So that's the perspective that I'm coming from. So as I said, they proceeded to, after telling me about myself and how not special I am, proceeded to tell me that they're going to call the police. Mind you, when they pulled up right next to my car, which I could see my car from the window. So I was watching them because my children were sitting in my car, waiting for me while I was putting the loads in the washer. So I was watching them diligently and very hard just to make sure that there are not any weirdos or anything coming close to my car. Obviously, because my children are in my car. So when I saw that they were just fine, or at least, they weren't touching or messing with my car or my children, I proceeded to continue what I was doing with ease. So I said, when they said that they're going to call the police, first of all, they called the store next door, the owner, who is somehow affiliated with the laundromat. And he proceeded to come over and tell me also that I need to put on a mask. And I also relayed the message to him that I'm exempt. And he also said that he's going to call the police. And I encourage both of them to go ahead, please call the police. I hope that when the police come, that you can learn something about the law, about, people's rights, and also about maybe minding your own business. Prior to going in this morning, I thought to myself, people on the road see people, and, you know, instead of saying, oh, you should do this, you should have a mask on, you should do that, maybe you should consider asking the person, miss, I would, maybe you can still express yourself that, yeah, it's probably a good idea that you wear a mask, but I see that you're not. Is there some way that I can help you? You never know what that person is going through. Maybe you asking them that can open a world of possibilities for them. Maybe they're not able to do things. Maybe they don't have someone to support them to get groceries or do their laundry or whatever, in order to get things done. But as I told the people in the laundromat, we all need to live. We all deserve to live. And we're not all going to be the same. And we need to learn tolerance. Moreover, we need to just learn to have patience and work around each other and act in love. I'm not saying that we're always going to be perfect and we're always going to do this, but instead of coming from the perspective of wanting to attack a person, maybe find out first how you can assist them, because obviously it's not something that you can just walk up to a person and they're going to tell you their whole business. Oh, this is the reason why I'm not doing what, wearing a mask. Or they're not obligated to tell you that. They're not obligated to explain anything to you, and they're not obligated to tell you about their personal life or their medical history. That is none of your business. And I say this without judgment, I say this without being rude, but to all the people who, make it a point of their duty to have a problem with people that are not wearing masks, you need to mind your own business. You need to mind yourself. And if you feel so concerned about people not wearing a mask, you should reach out to them and see how you can support them. Maybe you can offer your services for free to purchase their groceries and bring it to their door for them, because you don't know if they have someone to do those things for them. So instead of looking for a conflict, find a solution. This way, you're safe, they're safe, and I guess everybody's good, whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, as far as I can see, there's one sun, one moon, one world, and we all got to live in here. So We got to find ways around dealing with it. Just like if you see a crazy person on the street, instead of walking into that crazy person, you simply walk on the other side of the street or you walk away. You don't go up to them and be like, oh, you shouldn't be crazy. Like, let's be real. So let's common sense practices. Let's try to, encourage that. Let's try to be that in the world because we need more love. Point blank. So, anyways, I proceeded to tell them, please do call the police. When the police arrived, um, again, numerous people had left that weren't wearing a mask, and other people that came in that also were not technically wearing a mask. Whether that be that they were literally wearing it underneath their chin or they were just wearing it over their mouth. They weren't wearing it how a mask is supposed to be worn. And, I wasn't the only one in there not wearing a mask. So I did obviously tell her that she was being discriminatory against me. And she didn't see that she was, or maybe she didn't see the other person, which again is none of my business because I was not watching anybody in there. I was there to do my laundry. So when the police came, the officer was speaking to my daughter, and I realized that they didn't actually call the police on the basis of me not wearing a mask because after they were making their remarks, I saw one of them go outside and he was driving away, and I saw him make a gesture that made me know that they were talking about my children in the car. But I didn't know at the time that that's what they were calling the police about. So anyways, they called the police. She came and she was talking to my daughter and asking her questions or whatever. And obviously, as I told you, I could see because basically it's like having your car parked outside of your window. That's basically what the situation was. I could see my children, I could see my car because it was literally outside of the window. So I proceeded to go outside immediately as I saw the officer come to my car and, ask her, like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And she's telling me that she received a call. So obviously she's practicing her due diligence to, do her part as an officer, as what her job title um, consists of her to do. So I had no problem with her doing that. She was understanding to the fact of the story that I explained to her that the people just were trying to find a way to spite me, and hence why they had called the police to say that my children were in the car because they knew in themselves that they could not call the police to say that I was not wearing a mask because whether or not they know the law or don't know the law, again, really not my issue. From the jump when they were getting on me, I said, all I can do is send you love, and I understand where you're coming from, but we just need to learn to work around each other. And that's all I could say. As long as, they're not coming at me physically, then we're all good. You can say whatever you like. I don't even need to pay attention to you. That's the point. So, anyways, the police officer, I proceeded to have a conversation with her, and she understood that they were just trying to be spiteful, and clearly that my children were fine because I was checking on them periodically, feeding them periodically, and so on and so forth. And, when it was all said and done, people inside started pulling up their masks when they saw the police come because they thought that's what literally they had been called about. And they realized I, expressed myself to the other people in the laundromat. And some people were coming up to me and saying, basically it's fine and whatnot. And that, they also feel uncomfortable to an extent wearing the mask. Or, one lady even said, I'm a crack. She said, what did she say? She said she's on crack or she's a crackhead or something of that nature, which I said, we all have our thing. We're all perfectly imperfect. Who am I to judge you? Who am I to say anything about you? You do you. You live your life. You have your experience. I'm not here to say anything. I'm just trying to do my laundry. I'm just trying to do my laundry. At the end of the day, when all's said and done, I still had a great time. It was the best laundry around where I live. It's the cleanest place. The owners were beautiful and so lovely and helpful. And also the people inside that I met, despite my newfound friends trying to spite me to call the police on me about my children. And again, even in doing something like that, again, you don't know the welfare or the situation of the family, and trying to get someone in trouble instead of asking how you can help. So please, I would love for you guys to comment below, Let me know what you think about reaching out to someone to see how you can support them in times of fear, when you feel fearful about the things that they're doing. Obviously, within reason. We're not going to see someone, beating up another person or trying to harm another person to an extent and ask them, oh, how can I help you? Obviously, not to harm the other person, but even in that situation, maybe you can calm them down. And I'm not saying to go step in fights, I'm just making an example. But I do want you guys to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts around what I'm saying. Do you think that, reaching out to another person and saying, how can I help you right now? You seem like you need some assistance, and seeing if that person can respond to you and what kind of response. Just think about what kind of world we could have if that was the way that people operated, instead of attacking something that they don't understand. So that's just my main point, is let's not attack the things that we don't understand. Let's not see someone and judge them based off of appearances because you think that they're all right because they don't have a bone sticking out or blood bleeding out of their eye. We're not insurance companies here. We're not saying, you're not hurt because your bones are not cracked in half. So not because you can't see someone's hurt. Let's also remember that there's a mental part of us, okay? I have a friend that she was basically robbed and nearly raped at gunpoint by people who wore masks, covered their face in masks. And I remember her telling me a story that when she went out at night one of the time for a simple walk with a friend and somebody was coming towards them with a mask, it really frightened her. But I thought to myself, for her to live in that situation every day, even though she understands, yes, the pandemic and what we're going through, to live in that situation every day where you are triggered every single day when you're walking around and you see people with masks on, and all you can do is go back in your mind to that horrible moment of nearly losing your life. And you tell me that that doesn't affect your mental. You tell me, if you were to see that person on the street, if you would know that about them. No, you would not. Because unless they came to you and told you that story, there is no way that you're going to know. And this is why we should not judge. This is why we should not say, oh, well, you look physically okay, so what do you mean you're exempt? What do you mean you have back pain because you're 22 years old? People fall down the stairs and don't recover and still can get up and walk because we have to. We live in a society that does not honor our pains or the times that we need breaks. So let's move into that place where we support people when they are going through something, instead of judging them and wanting to put our opinions on what we think that they should do. Because remember that it's not your life, and the best way that you can live a better life is to support one another. So I send this message, and I say this message with peace, love, and light. I hope that, it gives perspective on looking at things from a different angle and not always being quick to judge or think that we know something about someone, especially when we don't. And I hope that it really does change the world by changing at least one person's heart to have some more compassion, to have some more patience, and to pay it forward. So this is my message of peace, love, and light. I'm so looking forward to reading your comments below and having a mini conversation around that. And please share this video so that we can bring more beautiful love, light, energy into this world. And how did the story at the laundromat end? Well, as I told you, when they were trying to yell at me, I just said, we're going to be here for an hour, so let's just try to basically keep it cordial. And by the time the police was done speaking with me, and she had stayed there for maybe like a few minutes, watching my children for me, thank God, bless her soul, and that's the type of help that I'm talking about. She left, and the people could basically obviously see that nothing came out of their spiteful ways. And by the end of me leaving, I just gave them a prayer pose. And what I mean by that is like hands clasped, and I just kind of bowed my head, and that was it. I sent them love, and that was it, because I understand where they're coming from. I understand that they're scared. I understand that. So I'm not fighting them. I'm not saying that, their opinion is wrong. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying that the way in which they approach me and, trying to be spiteful to me didn't end up being anything because it wasn't necessary. And, they just didn't go about things in the right way. So ultimately, it was just, again, sending peace, love, and light. And that was it. And I really just had to thank the earth in which we stood on, the place in which we stood, for there to be that energy, there to be that understanding from the officer, from the other people inside, feeling the same way as I feel, supporting me, letting me know that it's okay and that they shouldn't have approached me like that, and the fact that there's other people in there like that. And I didn't feel no way around the whole situation. I was actually happy that I got a chance to exercise using my voice and speaking up for myself. And I took it as an opportunity to learn. And what am I learning from this opportunity? And I think, going forward in life, we need to practice. And again, we're perfectly imperfect. So whatever those mistakes look like, it's all part of the journey. But let's try. The least we can do is try. Let's just try to bring some more love and light into this planet as we go through our days, because we want the children to grow up in a beautiful place. And we still want to see beauty all around us. We still want to take in the beautiful sun energy. We still want to breathe the beautiful air. So I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day. And please do share this message. I'm sure there are other people that are exempt that, get the evil stares or the killer stares. And it's so not necessary. Let's just back off. Let's just back off a second, because we're not giving those stares to babies, because it does not make sense. So let's think about having some sense out here. So that's my message for today. Peace, love, and light, folks. Stay love, stay light.